It's time to get lost in the Midcard. This Believe in Pro Wrestling property is brought to you by Bet Online, the continued #1 source for all your sports betting needs. Join now and receive your 100% welcome bonus on your first deposit when you use our promo code BELIEVE. Now, here are Jeremy Bennett and Matt Black on the Believe Podcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast where we live in a world where Eddie Kingston is a world champion, and it is a great world to live in. It is Lost in the Midcard. Welcome back. I am fresh off of vacation, almost completely caught up on wrestling. A lot of wrestling to catch up when you're gone for a week, but I am through Grand Slam at least. Did not get to Collision, but got the gist of Collision. And, of course, already October 1st, this Saturday, so that means, or this Sunday, Wrestle Dream, a brand new AEW pay-per-view coming your way. So we'll give you our predictions after we talk about Grand Slam. But I'd like to welcome you. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, make sure you go to the YouTube channel, Believe in Pro Wrestling. That is BLEAV. Subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you know every time we go live with this particular show every Monday around 6:10 Central, 7:10 Eastern, leading you up to Monday Night Raw. And make sure you share this out to all your friends as well so we can get as many people in on the chat as we possibly can. I'm your host, Jeremy Bennett. You can find me on the Twitter at JBHuskers. As always, my co-host, he is on the Twitter at RawF Showtime. It is Mr. Matt Black. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. I feel like we say this almost every week. We got a crazy week coming up in professional wrestling. It just seems like nothing's slowing down in the world of wrestling. It's just like it's on a freaking bullet train just coming at us at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I couldn't believe October was already on Sunday. And then, of course, we got releases to talk about. That happened while I was... basically, I think that dropped right when the day I came back or the day after or the day I was flying back. And we got some injury updates, a lot of other stuff to talk about. Not sure if we'll get there because we got a lot to talk about with AEW as well. Welcome to Lost in the NFL Midcard. Yes, Joe Burrow is going to start tonight for the Cincinnati Bengals with his leg injury or whatever. Though they did bring up a quarterback from the
I need Swift. I need Swift for the Eagles to have a Mo-start like performance tonight.
Oh God! In order
for me to win my freaking game tonight. So
you need 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I made a terrible mistake, and I started Derrick Henry over James Conner. And I thought for sure at the time that was the right decision because Dallas's defense looked really good in the first 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, well, let's put Connor on the bench because I don't want him running against Dallas, and I'll put Derrick Henry against the Browns.
Oh, God, Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry got me like 20 rushing yards, and James Conner had like 18 points on my bench. And that would have been the difference for me being in the game and me needing an absolute miracle from Swift tonight to win my league. So
I started Connor because I really have no choice. But I have the Dallas D in that same league, and they scored a whopping 0 after scoring 47 in week 1. Thanks for nothing, Dallas. You are back. It's the cycle. We're the best team in the world, and now it's this whole cycle. Like there's a meme that's out there like that, and we'll not even talk about my Bears now. Shitty they are. So, anyways,
woof.
Yeah,
woof to your Bears, sir.
Thought they were going to be an improved team this year. They're going backwards, which is not good. Fields had a good second year. Going backwards is not what you're supposed to do in your third year in the league, but that's where we stand. So there you go. There's your Lost in the NFL mid-card. 2 games tonight. So as MK said in the chat, Owens insane against Judgment Day, rinse and repeat. Well,
I swear it's like they're not even trying right now.
They're mailing it in because they know they can't compete with 2 NFL games.
Yeah, and from my understanding, Monday Night Football is going to be on ABC all season.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so being on basic television and cable, that honestly that spells disaster for WWE over the next 4 months in terms of Raw ratings.
With the strike over, I don't know if that's still going to be the case or if they signed a contract and it's a done deal now. I don't know. It's hard telling with that, but apparently the strike is either at an end or close to an end. But it didn't help save stars or heels because breaking news, literally minutes before we go on the air, Stars has canceled heels after 2 seasons?
Yeah, 2 seasons, which sucks because they ended it on like a multi-cliffhanger ending for season 2, and the fact that we might not ever get a resolution to the way season 2 ended really freaking sucks.
Yeah,
I hate when they do that. I don't think any show that was forced to air during the writer's strike deserves to be canceled.
Yeah.
Because with the writer strike and the actor strike going on at the same time, they weren't allowed to promote these shows. They weren't allowed to promote heels. They weren't allowed to promote winning time. And these great shows get canceled because of this strike bullshit.
Yeah.
Now that the strike, half the strike's done, WGA seems to be coming back, and now it's just the actors. But the damage has already been done. Like I don't think these shows should have been given a mulligan.
Yeah.
Like all right.
And there was one show that didn't even get out of the blocks that got canceled too.
Yeah, and like it should just been like, all right, well these shows had some issues, but we know why. Let's go on for another season. I'm really hoping. I'm hoping another platform picks up heels, and I think Netflix. Right. Netflix has been doing really good with that wrestlers documentary, the OVW reality show, or whatever, however you want to consider it.
So that could be a home.
I think heels would be a great landing spot on Netflix.
Do you have any idea where most
like a synergy there?
Do you have any idea where most of the Stars series are in streaming?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Jose G, what's up, man? My former co-host on a different show back in the day. Now it seems like a long lost memory, but Jose G, thanks for tuning in. And any NCIS fans? I've never watched NCIS, so
never seen it. I'm not a fan of those type of shows. I mean, I know the fan base is huge, but it's not my thing.
Stephen Wright,
there you go, JB. You think your Bears are bad, but you weren't getting trounced. Freaking Miami out there, second string team in the second half, and they were still scoring touchdowns on the freaking first string Broncos, man.
Freaking Achin and Mostert. Like Mostert had 4 TDs, Achin had 200 yards. It was insane. But yeah, and the Bears getting smoked was overshadowed by the fact that Taylor Swift was in Kelsey's suite. So that also kind of overshadowed things a little bit there. So yeah, this has now become a hybrid podcast where we talk about NFL for the first 10 minutes, and then we eventually get into wrestling sometime, eventually.
I blame the chat. This chat steered us into it immediately.
Yeah, that's true. That's
true. I always say we allow the chat to dictate where our conversation goes.
That's true.
And the chat immediately, veered us into NFL territory. So
I know. And that's nothing wrong with that. We will we will be a hybrid podcast if you want us to be. Absolutely. Stars has their own app for streaming. Okay. I didn't know if there was any other avenues that had that. Yeah. Bears and Broncos are this weekend. It's the Caleb Williams Bowl.
Oh, no. That's the game this weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, if you guys don't win.
That's a get-right game for us, I hope.
That is a must-win for you guys. You have to win that game. You have to win that game.
Yeah. If not, hello, Caleb Williams. All right. LA Knight, yeah, out with COVID supposedly.
I hope he'll be back this week because his absence was very, was very noticeable on SmackDown Friday. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, so he was supposed to be the guy. He was supposed to go save Cena at the end of the show. It's supposed to be LA Knight signing the contract after AJ Styles getting taken out by Solo and Jimmy. And I'll tell you what, even though WWE's mailing it in, I thought Raw was good this week. I thought SmackDown was good this week. I think they're doing good with the split of the Usos. I like the Jay story with nobody trusting him, even though he's a babyface now. Cody is about the only guy, and Sammy are about the only guys that have his back right now. I like that story. That story's been playing out really good. And I think finally the Solo and Jimmy and really just pushing Paul into the back seat. I think that finally became a good story this Friday on SmackDown, and interesting to see once Roman returns what happens. I mean, Christ, when is Roman going to wrestle next? I seriously am now under the belief that he's passing Hogan now. I'm just going to resort to that fact, Matt. I'm just going to they're going to keep it on him until he passes Hogan at this point, I think. I'm afraid.
I hope not. That would go well past WrestleMania 40.
Oh, yeah, well
past Summer. That goes past SummerSlam. 2024. That's like September.
Did Hogan reach 1,500?
I don't remember his exact date, but I remember him recently hearing someone say if they wanted Reigns to surpass Hogan, he would need to get past SummerSlam of 2024 because it lands somewhere in September of 2024.
Yeah. When did he hit 1,000?
And I don't know. Earlier this year?
Well, the issue is the WWE recognized championship. He's only held that for 540 days. It's the Universal title.
Yeah, well, they're not considering it that way. They're muffing up their own history because that's what they do.
May is when he hit 1,000, and Hogan is 1,470. So roughly 3 months from May, which would be August. So yeah, basically SummerSlam next year is when he would pass Hogan. Hogan had 1,474. Roman is at, whatever, 1,100 days now or something like that. So yeah. Oh yeah, Hogan got married, brother. Hogan getting married.
Who fucking cares?
At age 79 or what? No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. But you think John Cena is going back to Hollywood now that the deal's made? I think now that he's probably done after that tag match, I'm guessing.
Well, his side of Hollywood's not done yet.
That's true.
The actors are still on strike. Like, just because the writer stuff side is done, the actor side is not yet been fixed. So
Yep. So I don't know. But it's still up there, I suppose. But now I hear there might be a video game strike with the voice actors and people. It's like, yeah, everybody's striking. Eagles on the move for a touchdown. As we are welcome to Lost in the NFL Midcard. Yeah, that's right.
Let me know. Hey, Ozzy, let me know how Swift is doing. I need every play to get I need the ball in Swift's hands. That's all I want tonight. There's a bunch of touchdowns from Swift.
He has one
Swift
carry
all the time.
Ooh, AJ Brown, obviously after complaining, has got 2 catches for 44 yards. Swift 1 carry for 8 yards. They are down to the
not what I want to hear.
They're down to the 22, 3rd and 1. So there you go. There once again, welcome to Lost in the NFL Midcard on a hybrid podcast every Monday during football season.
Look, I just want to point out right now that Swift has already gotten me more fantasy points than Derrick Henry got me yesterday. That's how badly Derrick Henry screwed me over against freaking lowly ass Browns.
He's got 0.8 points right now. That's sad.
I got 2.10. 8 rushing yards, 1 reception for 8 receiving yards.
Oh, he just caught that.
So
I think he just caught that to get the first down.
All right. Well, my fantasy league must be ahead of your
television.
Then.
The last play was Swift, a catch for 8 yards.
So. Swift all the time, baby. That's what I need tonight. It needs to be the Swift show. We had Taylor Swift on Sunday. We got DeAndre Swift on Monday. That's all the NFL cares about right now. It's Swift time.
We are already half an hour left in the show, so let's get going here. This thing happened on Wednesday and Friday. AEW Grand Slam from New York. Great crowd kicking things off with Eddie Kingston and Claudio. A tremendous match by these guys. And man, how great is it to see Eddie Kingston as a world champion now?
Long overdue.
Yeah, it's in the chat.
How can you not be happy for that guy?
In the chat, if I can find it. Oh, here it is. Because we got Kingston versus Shibata for Wrestle Dream. I have not heard of Kingston in an injury. Have you?
Wait, what?
He's saying Kingston's back. I have not heard of that at all.
No, he put out like a message on Instagram or whatever that he has lower back problems that he'll need to get taken care of eventually. It's not anything that he's going to get taken care of right now. No, Eddie Kingston's defending against Shibata at Wrestle Dream. He's not taking time off. Don't worry.
Shibata putting his pure title on the line too.
No, it's just for the Strong and the Ring of Honor World title, which means obviously Eddie Kingston's winning.
Kelsey does not definitely want to date your Swift. Oh my God! Apparently the rumor is that they wheeled her out in a popcorn big metal case out of security or out of the box, which is hilarious if that's true. But yeah, great to see Eddie Kingston. Obviously, gigantic pop for Kingston to get that title. Code of Honor was adhered to at the end of the match, even with the long history of Claudio and Eddie, this is a great buildup. AEW sometimes is not great at a long-term buildups. This was a long-term buildup. Even within AEW's realm, it was a long-term buildup, and it was a great payoff to do it in New York, in Kingston's hometown. Great moment overall. So that was pretty cool. Roderick Strong in the hospital. This was just freaking hilarious. This whole thing with Adam Cole. Well, speaking of Adam Cole, did Adam just tweak it and they're being quiet right now because MJF's probably going to carry this match and not make Cole do much?
I'm assuming he got an ankle sprain. Hopefully it was a minor one. I mean, you can heal from that in 1 to 3 weeks. And I'm hopeful that's all it was. But the fact that they're still advertising the Wrestle Dream match, the fact that they're advertising Cole and MJF for Dynamite, the fact that Roderick Strong took to social media and made a joke at Cole's expense about getting hurt.
Yeah.
And the fact that Deadlock Pro Wrestling announced that Adam Cole will face Chris Danger at their show in November. All of these things together within the last, 72 hours or so tells me that he's fine. Like it was a scary moment on Dynamite.
Yeah.
Everybody held their breath, especially after the situation with Moxley earlier on in the show. But it seems that Cole's going to be fine. My prediction, this is not a report. Do not print this. My prediction, he had a minor ankle sprain, 1 to 3 weeks. That puts him a week and a half at Wrestle Dream. And how much work does they really need to do against the Righteous? MJF can beat the Righteous all by himself.
I think MJF's going to carry that. MJF will carry that match for them.
Like I said, MJF can beat the Righteous all by himself, probably with one arm tied behind his back.
I will admit it when I'm wrong, but I was wrong and Matt was right. Sammy turning on Chris Jericho.
I tried to tell you, homie. I tried to tell you.
This turned into something beautiful.
This was, dude. They absolutely replicated Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 19.
Yep.
So,
which is a goddamn good feud.
Karma coming back and biting Jericho in the ass.
So, a union you never thought you'd see, Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega, the Winnipeg combination, and thrown in Kota Ibushi as well. It's a team I never thought I'd see, but I was excited to see because you're going to root for these guys to beat the shit out of Don Callis' team of Takeshita.
That match is going to be sick.
Who's the third with Takeshita?
Will Ospreay.
Oh, okay.
As
I have not watched Collision. Yeah, I did not watch. Collision's the only thing.
I sent you those articles to give you the card and let you know.
I got
that
the card.
was in there. You should have read them, pal.
I got the card. We're not there yet, so I'm just gonna read the card later.
I gave you those articles like an hour and a half ago.
And then any status on Moxley? I hear he's fine. Is that correct?
I'm hearing it was a concussion.
Okay. Boy, that was scary
he was seemingly okay.
He didn't kick out
following the match. And the problem is everybody is pinpointing stuff throughout the match. A lot of people believe that the actual concussion took place at the beginning of the match.
That leap off the stage, the knee hit him in the head.
When Phoenix dived on Mox and Mox's head ricocheted off the floor.
It wasn't the pile driver.
No, but the pile driver probably stunned him after wrestling the entire match, probably concussed. And you take a Phoenix driver and you're probably just like, fuck me. Type of deal.
That was scary when he clearly didn't kick out. The ref pulls his 2 count.
Rick Knox just
the crowd,
better, dude. Just do better.
Because obviously you got big screens and cameras right on Mox's shoulders.
One of the best things the WWE referees are told to do, call it like a shoot.
Right? Yeah.
If the person doesn't break at 5, DQ. If the person's shoulders are down, count to 3.
Was this an audible?
Call the freaking thing Mox was supposed to retain.
Okay, I was going to say, was this an audible for Phoenix?
Phoenix was not supposed to win the title. But, there's not a whole lot you can do in that situation. So,
no, but
Mox was supposed to kick out. Mox did not kick out, and then we got the finish that we got.
Ray Phoenix is a world champion caliber wrestler, so for him to hold a singles title, a meaningful singles title at that, thanks to Orange Cassidy, I do not hate that. Toni Storm, who I've just absolutely loved this new gimmick. Her interview with RJ City was hilarious. Her now black and white entrance, I just love it all. But as expected, Saraya retaining.
It was a great match.
It was. I loved it. Then next up is the main event and the old MGF replicating the Bret Hart thing and then telling the kid he's adopted. I fucking popped at that. That was so good. MGF and Samoa Joe, no surprise. A lot of Samoa Joe's matches. He dominates throughout the entire match. Until Adam Cole, baby, shows up. Of course, he was at the hospital with Roddy, so he was a little late arriving, and maybe he should have still took a little care getting off that ramp because that thing is so weird. You got to take a 180 to get off onto the floor. And anyways, hopefully he's going to be okay for Saturday. Or for Sunday. I'm sorry. This is a Sunday show this week.
Sunday show. We got the NXT No Mercy this Saturday night. So
that's right. Yeah,
we got a full weekend of special shows. So that NXT show will go head to head with Collision. Obviously, I'll be watching Collision, but it's there.
Yeah, I'll get to No Mercy when I can. I'm like 2 weeks behind on AEW I'm 2 weeks behind on NXT anyway. So I do know that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, I probably won't watch it. I'll probably go out. We'll see. We'll find out. But yeah, I think I'm 2 weeks behind on NXT by at least because I didn't watch this week. So that was one of the things I skipped as I was trying to get caught up. But a good, very good Grand Slam for Wednesday. Moving into Friday's Grand Slam. Darby Allin, Sting, Christian Cage, Luchasaurus. The good guys get the win there ahead of their triple threat with Luchasaurus, Christian Cage, and Darby on Collision, which was won by Christian Cage. So now we can officially say he was the title holder, even though he claimed he was all along. But God, can we just get... Usually Matt's tired of feuds long before I'm tired of feuds. I'm tired of Cage and Darby. I'm ready for this to just move on, man.
That's ending. She's gonna end a Wrestle Dream. Two out of three falls match for the TBS title. It'll end there.
I'm just getting
because that's where I think Ed shows up. I think Ed shows up at Wrestle Dream, and I think Christian moves on to something else.
On this day.
So, I don't see any reason why they couldn't get that track if that's what they wanted. Oh. Personally, I would go with Never Gonna Stop.
Yeah.
But I think the modern day fan is more familiar with, the On This Day theme. So if I'm Tony Khan, I take whatever I can get. Like, I try to get both and see which one comes through first. Exactly. But I predict we see Edge on Sunday at Wrestle Dream. I also think we see Mercedes Moné at Wrestle Dream as well. I think Wrestle Dream is going to be a very, very big show for AEW as a company on Sunday. I think a lot of people are going to be talking about that show for a variety of reasons once it's done.
Steven is nominating the Brood theme. That was a Jim
WWE
Johnston.
owns that. Yeah, there's no way they can get a hold of that.
Nope. 6-person intergender match. Orange Cassidy Hook, Chris Statlander taking on Anna Jay, Daddy Magic, and Cool Hand Ange. Good guys getting the win there. Fatal 4-way. Hardy's Kingdom, Righteous, Best Friends. Winner gets Better Than You, baby. And the Righteous getting the win there. The Righteous kind of on a roll right now. Matt shaking his head. I've seen you post tweets. I like the Righteous more than you do, apparently. But
I don't know what Tony Khan sees in the Righteous. And I hate that Tony Khan is pulling a Vince McMahon right now with the Dark Order.
What do you mean?
You treated them like shit for years. You told us that they didn't freaking matter. And now all of a sudden, we're supposed to buy them as a serious threat and credible because all of a sudden you want to push them? Sorry, Tony. The damage has been done. The group sucks. The Dark Order is done. Like, nothing you can do right now will make me believe that these guys are a legitimate threat to anything. So just stop it. It's honestly, it's annoying. It's a Vince McMahon move, and it's the kind of shit that WWE does that infuriates me to no end. I don't want to see it in AEW either.
I like Steven's idea. Put the Righteous and Dark Order together.
That's where I thought the whole Ring of Honor story was heading. But then Stu Grayson disappeared off the face of the earth, and we haven't seen anything from it since. Like, I don't know what the heck's going on with all that. I don't know if Stu's hurt or what, but yeah, that feud, that whole storyline on Ring of Honor just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
So I've got no freaking clue what's going on there.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, like MK said, where's Stu? He's not been around as the recent TV showings of.
No, not at all. No appearance of the Righteous on AEW programming has included Stu Grayson. Like, nothing.
Yeah. And a lot of it is you can't build these guys up on ROH because I don't think there many people watching, which is why I think the end of Rampage happened with the Elite winning, the Hung Bucks winning the trios titles. I think that's clearly to try to get more. Is there a
single Ring of Honor star right now that was not originally signed with AEW that has a title right now? Because I don't think it is. I think the 6-man tag titles were the only ones left, and I think every single title from Ring of Honor now is held by an AEW contracted talent.
Yep,
that's freaking wild, man. Like,
I mean,
let's just call a spade. Ring of Honor is Tony Khan's NXT.
Yeah, because
that's all it is now.
On Collision,
Ring of Honor is AEW's NXT, and I won't accept anybody else's arguments that try to tell me that it's not.
And I'll tell you this: on Collision last week,
Frantic World, pure the Shibata.
Oh, yeah, Shibata
has the pure title. So, but I mean, he's not even an ROH contracted talent. Is he a New Japan guy?
Oh, he's New Japan. He's New Japan.
So, I mean, it's not the same, but it's close. It's close enough.
And then
last said it too. So a lot of people are chiming in with. Yes, everybody chiming in with Shibata now. We got it.
And last week on Collision, two guys that have been with the company a long time, the Workhorsemen, come up to challenge FTR, and a "Who are you?" chant starts. Again, I think ROH needs to be.
It probably would have been better if they hadn't come out in street clothes.
Yeah, ROH needs to be not under the Honor Club banner. It needs to be free. But even then,
it needs to be whatever platform AEW lands on Max this year.
Yeah,
that's what it needs to be.
I just don't know if streaming, if even like, because I mean, not a lot of people watch Dark and Dark Elevation, so I just don't even know if that's the answer either. Again, the Acclaimed Daddy Ass retaining his Dark Order. Julia Hart defeats Sky Blue. Santana making his singles debut, defeating Bronson, and then of course the we just mentioned the Hung Bucks.
Well, don't forget about the fact that after Santana's match, he faced off with Ortiz on the ramp, and we're actually getting that feud, and I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, Matt just said that, and I put it on TV, man. Just get a deal.
Well, that's more on Warner Brothers than AEW than
Change
Tony
Rampage.
Khan and AEW though.
Change Rampage. Switch Rampage to ROH.
Yeah, but period. I mean, again, that also comes down to Warner Brothers agreeing to do that.
Yeah,
I think that's a great idea.
Since they have Collision now, but that should be the answer. So, all right. So, Wrestle Dream is this Sunday.
Yes.
On pay-per-views. Is this a $50 pay-per-view again? Unless you got VPN.
Probably, but that's what VPNs are for, my friend.
But apparently,
this might be the last pay-per-view of the AEW air if Full Gear could very well be on Max in November.
Yeah. Well, the rumor was 2024 was when this Max stuff was going to happen.
I've heard rumblings it could be as soon as Full Gear.
I hope you're right.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I know they want to have a 12 pay-per-view schedule in 2024.
Yeah.
So obviously that's going to be, done for Max. They're doing it for Max in Warner Brothers. That's why this is all happening. I've also heard rumblings that there will be a December pay-per-view. Like I think I heard a tentative date of December 29th. Let me look at that count. Let me look at the calendar. No, December 29th doesn't make any sense because that's Friday. It could be December 31st, which is New Year's Eve. They could do a New Year's Eve pay-per-view on a Sunday.
That's risky.
Or
unless you do it early.
Well, you could do the Saturday night pay-per-view and preempt Collision. I don't know. But I heard I heard rumblings of like an end of the month December pay-per-view. But that they might end that. They might not do that if they don't get Full Gear on Max by November.
All right. 9 matches announced for Wrestle Dream. 4-way tag match for a future AEW World Tag Team Championship opportunity. Young Bucks, the Guns, Lucha Brothers, Orange Cassidy, and Hook. Who would you?
The interesting thing about this match is it's not for a future AEW title shot. It's for an AEW tag title shot when at their choosing, like whenever they want. It almost sounds like a Money in the Bank for a tag team wrestling type thing. The way the match graphic read, like they can call for their title shot at any time, like the Feast or Fired.
Yeah.
Briefcases and Impact. So
it's down to the Guns. It's down to the Guns or Orange Cassidy and Hook, in my opinion. Just because I'm
not rolling out the Bucks and FTR and locking back up again.
Yeah.
So
the Guns have been Bullet Club Gold's been heavily featured on AEW television lately.
I'd be much more inclined to say that this should have been Jay White. If Jay White and Juice Robinson were in this match, instead of the Guns, I'd be a lot more inclined to go with them.
I'm gonna go Orange Cassidy.
I don't want to see the Guns and FTR again. I've seen it, ad nauseum.
Well, I've also seen the Bucks too. So
but there's a difference between tag team instant classics and the Guns versus FTR.
We just saw it though. I'd like to see Orange Cassidy and Hook win this one.
And like I said, it's not a number one contender match. It's not like they win at Wrestle Dream and all of a sudden the match is 4 days later on Dynamite. So, like, I'm not. I'm gonna. I think the Bucks might win this. I think they might.
TBS Championship: Chris Statlander, Julia Hart. I don't see a title change here.
I don't either. I think
Statlander
retains.
We definitely don't see a title change with Eddie Kingston against Shibata. And we just talked about Cage and Christian Cage and Darby Allin for the TNT title. Edge going to screw Christian or help Christian?
I think we see Edge after the match. I don't think he comes out during.
Who wins then? Christian?
Man, it's in Seattle. It's hard to go against Darby.
Darby's held that so many times now.
Yeah, but some of the best TNT title reigns in the history of this company has been when that title's been held by Darby Allin. I would prefer Christian to retain, but man, that being in Seattle, in the way that they've built this story, I would not roll out Darby winning that title on Sunday.
That would be his third reign with the title.
We'll see.
Of course, Darby has the longest reign ever as TNT champion at 186 days when he held it first in November of 2020. 6-man tag, Jericho and the Golden Lovers taking on Don Callis' family.
This is a must win for Jericho, Megan, and Ibushi. The Don Callis family's had way too many wins over both Jericho and Omega lately. They need a win. They have to win this match.
It's like the thing is with this though is like, is this over with? I don't think it's far from over, but yeah, I think you're right on that the good guys have to get at least a win here, but this is far from over. Better Than You, Baby versus
the Don Callis family wins again, it might as well be over,
right?
Because it's such a lopsided, win-loss record at this point over the last few months. Like they have, like, Jericho and them have to win.
Better Than You, Baby versus The Righteous. I think this was supposed to be Better Than You, Baby versus The Kingdom, but then Adam Cole got hurt. And so they're playing it safe, threw in The Righteous. They can always put in a...
So you think they called an audible that night?
Yeah. I think
okay.
They're saving.
You know what?
If
that's the reasoning why this happened, I'm actually more okay with this than I think was
they're
previously.
saving.
I didn't even think about that.
I think they're saving Kingdom for Full Gear now at this point, which is the bigger pay-per-view anyways. So yeah, and then we got FTR Aussie Open. That's not going to change hands. So basically only one title change expected with Darby probably.
I would not roll out. Honestly, I would not roll out Aussie Open winning those titles.
Really?
I wouldn't.
Well, that would open the door for Orange Cassidy and Hook.
That would absolutely open up an Aussie Open Young Bucks match.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
Do you agree with me that Swerve has to beat Hangman?
Swerve probably needs it more. Yeah.
Especially after the Cage and the Embassy, or the Embassy lost the 6-man tag. So, titles.
Yeah, I'd say Swerve needs that win more than Hangman.
And Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. is just going to be a classic. I expect Danielson to win, though, because I think Danielson's on his way to a world. I think he's on his way to a world championship eventually.
Danielson has to win. Has to.
Who's next for MJF on the world title side, Matt? Any ideas?
That's a good question. They really haven't set anybody up at the time being as who his next challenger is going to be. I'm honestly not sure.
Yeah, I'm not. It's going to be hard to tell.
They should do Swerve and Heyman for the number one contendership.
Almost, yeah. Swerve and MJF would be a good match.
Yeah, I would love that.
I think they'd have a good build with that. So it'd be pretty cool to see that on there. All right. Well, we only have 9 minutes left. But let's talk about, of course, the unfortunate news that happened this week. Several WWE wrestlers expectedly got fired after the TKO merger. That list included Mustafa Ali, Dolph Ziggler, probably the biggest name of everybody in there, Aaliyah, Elias, Emma, Rick Boogs, Riddick Moss, Shelton Benjamin, Top Dollar, Quincy Elliott, Bryson Montana, Mace Mansoor, Dana Brooke, Dabba-Kato, Shanky, Elisa Leone, who actually had requested to be released, Daniel MacArthur, Kevin Cortez, Alexis Gray, Ike Manjiro, and Brooklyn Barlow. I think the three biggest names that stand out right here, Matt, to me are Ziggler, Ali, and Benjamin, because I don't think
Matt
Ziggler
Riddle.
and Benjamin and Riddle, which was not part of that release, but later on, he right
the
before
following
SmackDown.
day. For all we know, they couldn't get in contact with them on Thursday.
Possibly, yeah.
You're not making anything official until somebody picks up their phone. Maybe Riddle was following the JTG playbook.
Don't pick up your phone;
Thursday,
you won't get fired.
And then actually forgot the following day and just answered his phone.
There's a lot of rumblings that Moose Fale could be AEW bound. He's tight with Bryan Danielson. I'd like to see Ziggler team up.
I think Ali, Ziggler, and Benjamin should be 3 locks.
Yep.
For AEW to pick up, because Dolph you could tag him up with his brother. Ali can do great stuff in ROH or AEW.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of people talking about Shelton Benjamin in the Blackpool Combat Club.
Ooh.
And that just sounds incredible to me. So
odd that Top Dollar, the only one out of Hit Row that got released, which says they must see something in Ashanti.
Maybe the NWA would be interested. I don't know. I can't see anybody stumbling over themselves to sign Top Dollar right now.
I thought Quincy Elliott had promise, but apparently he just did not improve.
He had a lot of issues on social media.
Yeah.
And when those issues came to light, he was taken off TV immediately.
Dana Brooke was surprising because she was being used on NXT.
Well, yeah, the same reason Ali was surprising. He was scheduled for a title match this Saturday night. He was booked for a pay-per-view, and they let him go.
And I just wish they would have gotten something to click with Emma, but it didn't. For some reason. So, yeah, I think Steven's right on that.
In her soon-to-be husband. So
yeah, I bet they're going. I bet they'll go to Impact. Yeah,
that makes sense. Honestly, that's a great landing spot for both of them.
And we don't have time for this, but this was going to be brought up. Sami Callihan's contract is up at September 30th.
PCO has given his notice to Impact. This is up at the end of October. So all of a sudden, Impact's going to have some extra money to throw around. So
Mark Cho, that is anybody. I move better than Tyrus. So. But anyways, I mean, Ali and man, Nick Nemeth has got to be smiling right now because he's not been used hardly at all in that company. He's got to be smiling now because there's a tag team right there that you could put together with the Nemeth brothers. I like that. Shelton Benjamin had the combo, baby. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Let's go through the rest of these stories real quick, just because I want an excuse to put that picture up. For some reason, Mandy Rose talked about her free agent status and that it would make the right call to return to wrestling, and that she's making a lot of money on OnlyFans. Now, Matt, this is not breaking news. So does this tell you that maybe she's close to returning to wrestling? Because this is weird that this just came out and everybody's been running with it.
Well, she was recently interviewed. She was doing a lot of interviews with media following, launching her OnlyFans. So, I mean, it makes sense. I think the most interesting thing to come out of this is it seemed like her non-compete was a hell of a lot longer than a standard 90-day, because the way she was talking in these interviews, it sounded like her free agency just happened. Like at some point this month.
Jesus, that's 9
she became
months.
A free agent. That's like Renee Paquette levels of non-compete when she left WWE. So I'm very curious. I heard rumblings that she was in talks with AEW. I actually thought we'd see her at Grand Slam, and it didn't happen. She definitely ain't going to WWE because WWE is not tolerant in the OnlyFans stuff. So as long as she's doing that kind of stuff, you're not going to see her there. I don't see her at Impact. Like, to me, AEW is the only logical landing place for her because they don't care what you do with that kind of stuff. So unless, talks completely fall apart, I foresee Mandy showing up in AEW at some point this year. So
and to round out some news, Sheamus is currently dealing with a bad shoulder injury according to Meltzer. So that's why you've not seen Sheamus lately. Backstage reaction to Jey Uso joining Raw been very positive according to Fightful, an article that just dropped earlier today. And so there's been a lot of positivity, so to speak, with Jay moving over to Raw. And like I said earlier in the show, I think it's been a good story with like guys like Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens not trusting him, and so I think so far that's really worked out. Mansoor on his Twitch channel talked about, of course, how Vince McMahon mucks up WrestleMania weekend. We all know we all saw it with our own eyes. We all knew that was Vince's fingerprints. And finally, we'll bring up one last thing, and that is television deals. It has been confirmed that WWE has landed their contract for SmackDown in 2024. It is moving to USA, away from Fox. What are your thoughts on them getting away from standard over-the-air television, where they were getting a good number? I mean, with The Rock, it was like 2.5 million, where Monday Night Raw, obviously now it's struggling with, Monday Night Football, and basically like the Ciampa Vinci match was the least watched match in Raw history, which was interesting to hear. But it's still a good match.
That's not good for Ciampa.
No, but it's a good match. I mean, it was just
but I mean that's the kind of numbers that you can point to as why someone's not going to get a future push.
But what do you think about
the kind of shit that Vince does, man?
No, what do you think about them getting away from over-the-air television?
I don't think it's as much as them getting away from over-the-air television as much as Fox wasn't willing to give them a pay bump. And WWE wasn't signing a new media rights deal without a bump. So they got the bump from USA and NBC, and that's where they went.
A lot of people think Raw and NXT are going to a streaming service.
I'm not rolling out USA and NBC still landing Raw and NXT. I'm not.
Okay.
That's not dead yet. I know a lot of people are reporting under the assumption that that's dead in the water. They're two separate deals. Like there's still like I'm not saying they're staying on USA, but there's a chance that they could stay on USA.
According
if they
to
don't
Alex
stay on USA, there's a very good chance that they could land on Amazon Prime.
According to Alex Whiprin of The Hollywood Reporter, the expectation is Raw and NXT will cease airing on USA once SmackDown arrives next year.
Deal's not done.
Yep.
And until the deal's done, ink's dry, and the press release is put out in front of everybody's faces, USA Network's still in the running to keep Raw and NXT.
Well,
if they don't, like I said, if they don't keep it, I see it going to Amazon Prime.
Yeah. Well, it's 1 minute away.
You don't move Raw off Monday nights. And if Raw goes to let's say Disney took Raw, they're not putting Raw on Monday nights head to head with their ESPN Monday Night Football. It's just not freaking happening.
No.
So that would mean Raw on a different night of the week, and I just don't foresee WWE wanting that ever to happen. So if it's not USA, it's probably Amazon Prime. So that's my expert opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
And Bezos was sitting next to Triple H, wasn't he?
Triple H and Ari Emanuel.
Oh, Manuel, that's right. Yeah. All right, it's time for Monday Night Raw or Monday Night Football, whatever you're gonna watch.
Whatever you want to watch.
Any last words, Matt?
Looking forward to Wrestle Dream on Sunday. Looking forward to a good week in pro wrestling, and hoping that we get some good stuff.
Absolutely. For Matt Black, this is Jeremy Bennett. Thanks for tuning in to Lost the Midcard. We'll be back at you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And as always, we're brought to you by Bet Online.